All right, welcome back to Let the Journey Begin. I am your host, Jason Waller, alongside my co-host, Hilary Roberts. Hilary, how are you doing, my dear?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Greg and I were in Mexico last week, and it was beautiful. And then we got back on Thursday, and then Saturday, I had the honor and privilege of singing for a friend of mine's funeral. He and his wife, when I moved here in the 90s, took me under their wing when I had no money, no singing voice. I mean, just a shell of myself. And his wife had passed away from bone cancer about 7 years ago, and Bill French died actually in December. But it was really a beautiful honor to be able to sing, and actually I did our foundation song along with Amazing Grace for the service, and so that they wanted Born to Fly for that. So that was amazing.
That's absolutely incredible. What is it? I mean, what is that feeling like? You know, having them embrace you and take you under their wing, to being there and being present and to be where you're at today. I mean, was there just an overwhelming load of emotions?
Yeah, I have to really I couldn't really look at people because it's just too hard. But I have to just kind of separate myself, and it's amazing to see the difference. I mean, they took me from I was 93 pounds when I moved here, and they loved me through all the stuff that I talked about when you interviewed me last month. And they taught me to love myself when I didn't. They loved me when I couldn't love myself, so I could turn love someone else. And it's just amazing. I want to be able to be that beacon of light and that supporting arm, that support system for other people. And the way they loved me when I.
And the unfortunate, circumstances of that situation, it sounds like everything really came full circle, though. You know, how you're able to be there for them. And
it did. I mean, he was 86. I mean, wow. He was amazing. I hope to live a long life. I want to be one of those, people that have long-term sobriety that can just be that beautiful example. That's what I pray for.
Well, I love it. Well, look, and on that positive note, you are, the foundation right now. We currently have 4 people in treatment, which is absolutely incredible. We actually have 2 more people that we're going to be putting into treatment this week. Again, wow. If you guys didn't catch our update a few weeks ago that we talked about, we've given away $1.2 million worth of scholarships this year in 2021. So 2022, as we are in this new year, will be very interesting to see. We can't bump that up. I think we're going to set a goal about 1.5. So we'll keep you guys posted. Other than that, besides me turning 35, which I don't even want to talk about, let's bring our guest on. You know what I'm saying?
Happy birthday.
I appreciate that. All right. Well, look, I mean, I'm going to let you do the honors, even though this is a friend of mine that I met through our boy, Dr. Drew. When we started, we did a show together and we just connected instantly. And there was, when you find synergy between individuals, you gravitate towards them. And this was somebody like that. And I'm so excited to have him on, but I'll let you introduce him and we'll hammer away.
All right. Well, Anthony Brown is the founder and director of Coordinating and Assisting Recovery Environments, C.A.R.E. in Anaheim, California since 1999. Anthony's passion has been providing specialized treatment for individuals who suffer from mental illness combined with a substance abuse disorder. Anthony, welcome to our show.
Well, thank you for having me.
How you doing, bro?
I am well, thanks.
Awesome. I am so stoked that you're in studio. I guess you're actually my neighbor. Come to find out, I always thought you lived in LA, but you're right up the street up in Orange.
Yeah, just right down the road a little bit.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming down, man. And I'm happy that we're face to face because we actually only saw each other through Skype last time. And so it's nice to have you here. But if you don't mind, I think we're going to hit you with the tough question.
All right, come on with it.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
When I was a little kid, I really didn't know. I probably had like the same dreams as all the other little kids. I want to be a fireman or a policeman or a doctor or something like that. Mm-hmm. But my life took a turn where dreams just wasn't even possible anymore. I just jumped right into reality and, suppressing a bunch of things that was in front of me.
What do you mean? So can you talk about that a little bit? So, I mean, dreams no longer became a reality.
When I was 9 years old, me and my sisters walked into the living room and found my mom laying on the floor. She got shot in the head.
Oh my God.
And from that point forward, my whole life just, there wasn't no looking forward to anything. There was just, how to cope with that. And so, drinking and things like that happened really early.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Was it from a relationship type of situation or something else?
Yeah, it was, the assumption was that it was from a relationship because the person she was involved in disappeared after that occurred, only to show up probably 9 years later. And that's a whole story within itself.
Oh my God. 9 years old when this had happened. And how many siblings did you have?
I have one brother and two sisters.
One brother and two sisters. So I'm going right in there at that is from 9 on, what started to domino? And I appreciate you being so open with us, but so
Yes.
where'd that take you at 9 years old? Where'd you end up going?
Well, at 9, my mother survived that one. Then we moved.
Wow.
In the beginning, we used to live in Cleveland, and we moved to our little hometown of Steubenville. And she survived it, but at that point in time, I was just drinking, and that was it. Nothing mattered. I was acting out. My behavior changed. I wasn't that little kid that expected gifts or expected life to be thrilling.
Right.
Life was just, I don't know how to correctly say, suck.
Yeah.
But that's what life turned into at that early age.
100%. And did you have a father in your life, or was he non-existent during that time?
I never met my father my whole life, ever.
Wow.
I didn't discover his name until I was 15 years old, got my own birth certificate.
Wow.
So you experienced a lot of trauma, a lot of stuff at a very young age. Were introduced to substances. When were you introduced to alcohol, drugs? Was that at 9?
9 or earlier. I remember prior to that, my mother used to have friends come over and drink, and they would leave cans on the table, and I'd pick up a can and drink from it and spin in little circles and get all the attention. And,
Right.
And that's probably on my whole drinking career, as I act out and get attention and deal with consequences.
Where did this drinking career end up taking you?
I was homeless for 23 years, in and out of prisons. 8th grade education when I first started. No job skills. So the end of my drinking career just ended up with nothing to show for in life as an adult, and nothing to feel. It took me to a place where I really didn't even care about much of anything.
Right. When did you go from living under the roof with your mom, right, and your siblings? You moved, I understand that. But so then how long were you under that roof before you ended up becoming homeless? At what age did you enter into homelessness?
At 14, I ran away from home, joined a carnival. And
Tell me about it.
Oh, being a carny?
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
Yeah, we want to know about that.
Well, by then I've discovered pills and everything, all the stuff that was available back in the days, Quaaludes and cross tops and Christmas trees and drinking and weed, all of that. And because of my mom's, because of the way she would dish out restriction or punishment, it was just too intense.
Right.
And so I left at 14. The carnival was in town. I said, okay. So I started working with them. When they left town, I left with them.
Oh my gosh. And when you say punishments were too strict, I mean, was it just, do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, I remember once getting beat with an extension cord, and we used to run because extension cords hurt. And
they do.
Yeah. And so at one point in time, she had me lay on the floor and she put her foot on my neck and beat me with extension cord. Stuff like that. I remember getting beat with extension cord in junior high school in the principal's office in front of everybody. I mean, talking about,
You got to
embarrassment
be
and
kidding
things.
me.
No, seriously.
Mm-mm.
That's where I come from.
That is just so. It's hard to even process that. You know what I mean? I understand that this is. I mean, for you that had to walk through this, it's so hard to even. And you were so young going through this. Doesn't matter what age you are. I mean, any of that stuff that would happen. And so, okay, so getting back on track here. You're going. So you did the C.A.R.E experience. Now I fully understand and aware of the environment that you're in. Very toxic, very unhealthy. Where were your siblings during all this?
My brother went off to live with my grandmother, and my two sisters stayed at home. But once I joined the carnival, I just disconnected from everybody.
Even your siblings?
Everybody.
And so how long did the C.A.R.E run last?
It lasted till I was 18.
Oh, damn. 4 years.
Yeah, it was a run. It was a good one.
That was a good run.
Yeah.
And did you travel?
What did you do in the carnival? I want to know.
I ran an amusement ride called a Tip Top.
A tip top?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I even have a picture of it at home. I looked it up online.
We're going to have to get one of those for the houses. You know what I'm talking about?
No more Tip Top.
No more Tip Top. Okay.
No more Tip Top.
Well, okay, so you do that 8-year run. Now tell me what happens.
Then I'm in Ohio, and my friend Jimmy had been to California. And where I'm from, my town is very small.
Right.
And because of my addiction, I didn't know anything outside the borders pretty much. And when he said, let's go to California, because he came out here, I thought, okay, well, only thing I know about California was the Beverly Hillbillies.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, Hollywood, movie stars, I'm going to live in a big old mansion. And, so we took everything I owned, which fit into a duffel bag, and jumped in the back of his Mustang and drove out here.
Okay. And then so I'm trying to get to the point though where you actually now are living on the streets. So get me to that spot.
Well, I've been living in abandoned houses in Ohio.
Okay, so so even in the C.A.R.E, okay, so you were still so you're technically homeless during this whole process.
Yes.
Got it.
Even being a carny, we slept underneath rides.
Wow.
And so, I did that for the summertime. Wintertime, I come back, live in abandoned houses. My friend said, hey, let's go to California. I'm like, okay. We drove across the country. I see the Hollywood sign. I'm thinking, yeah, this is going to be it. Seeing Rodeo Drive. Yeah, this is it.
Right.
We just kept on going, and we end up in Linwood. I'm like, I didn't see this on TV.
Oh, no. Oh, no. So this experience, okay, so just to keep on track, you are now in Los Angeles. And what is this experience like? And do you ever go, so are you actually from living in abandoned homes and under rides, do you actually end up on the streets?
Yeah, there's been, when I came to Linwood, I stayed maybe a hot second with his brother in his studio, and then I just moved and started hanging out in the park.
Okay. So, that's gives kind of the full picture of this. And what, first of all, it's absolutely incredible, Hilary, to see you in front of us today, hearing and, everything that you went through. Man up above was looking over you, and you definitely have such a greater purpose. And I'm very curious to know, when you experienced your moment of clarity, when was all of this enough for you to be able to transition and say, I'm going to give up drinking and drugs. I'm going to surrender. I'm going to turn my life around. What happened?
When I was probably 35. By then I moved to Costa Mesa, attempting to sell drugs, going in and out of prison. And the police officer that continued to arrest me so many times asked me if I needed some help. And this is the first time he ever said that to me. And at that point in time, I was just being, tired of being sick. And I just said, yeah. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to get the heat off and have a place to, hang out. And, I didn't know that I'd get introduced to treatment.
Right.
Because treatment wasn't in my vocabulary.
And so you go to, you go to treatment? Was that a one and done?
I went to treatment. I did 18 months in treatment.
Wow.
And I thought maybe I can go hang out with the old friends and, You know,
How'd that work out?
it didn't work out well at all.
right.
It didn't work out well.
So that happened. So, but the real moment of clarity, though, is when that officer reached his hand out.
Yes.
And then so 18 months, go back out, you connect with old buddies, back to old behaviors, you enter back into treatment.
Well, I went to jail.
Went to jail?
Because I'm one of those people, I have to be physically removed from society to stop using
Doing what you're doing.
I have to. And so I went back to jail, but I had a head full of treatment. And I remember, everybody being nice and, being able to sleep at night. Because once I went out and started getting involved in, my debauchery, because my drug of choice is methamphetamines.
Yeah.
And you don't,
My man.
yeah, you don't sleep on it, know, and once I started going back, when I relapsed, I wanted to be clean. I wanted to be sober so bad. It was pathetic. And so finally I did that old Hail Mary cry. It's like, okay, God, I'm scared and I'm done. And I got arrested the next day.
And that was the moment of your sobriety date.
That's it. March 29th, 1999.
That's amazing.
Wow.
So there's something here. It's a quote from your pictorial. It says, "It was hard to look safe on the outside when I never felt safe on the inside."
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Because of what I've been through, I just didn't even feel comfortable. I mean, when I sit down, I was just a scared individual, scared of everything. I didn't trust anybody. From day one, my mom getting shot in the head, nothing happened, in and out of jails. It was just me as an individual was non-existing. And so why would anything else matter if there wasn't me? And so I didn't feel safe with me. I just knew if you put me around someplace, something bad was going to happen.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, why even try to do good?
Yeah. So because there's quite a lot of things that I want to get into about what you're doing now and today. But 22 years, I want to know, for our listeners, what did you do? Obviously you went to treatment and did those things, but what are some of the things you do on a daily basis to sustain and maintain your sobriety?
I believe in God. I don't know if I can say it. I believe in God. And I depend on God. And when I was sober 2 years, I had a God test. I actually tested the theory of God.
Okay. And tell me about that.
Wow.
Yeah. I was at a park one day, 2 years sober, and I was laying there and I said, you know what, God, I know cars run on gas. And I know this bench I'm sitting on is solid. I know that for a fact. Prove to me that you exist. And that's where my whole spiritual experience just took off. For me, from what I understand, people experience this God thing on a level in which they understand completely. And it might be something that other people may not understand, but it's what they understand. And after that question, I looked around and there were all kinds of little animals just surrounding that bench. And the trees became in 3D, and I felt this overwhelming comfort within me as if some light been left. And I was given instructions. And it was the always never hate, finish what you start, and don't intentionally do anything wrong to people. Those are the three things. And with that, I just took off. And all of a sudden, my life just went.
Wow.
Wow.
And I think, again, as so many individuals that we've had on here all have their moment of clarities, their spiritual awakenings. And for me, I'm a firm believer in that. I had mine. Mine was very clear when mine had happened. And that is incredible, especially for me in my relationship. And I believe in God as well. And I think there's a huge proponent to that. And so that all taking place, what does Anthony Brown do, especially in those, maybe that first couple of years, and those couple of years and today, what do you do to maintain, and how did you walk through a lot of what you went through?
Well, I believe that I never have to do anything alone, and God is all powerful and can do things that doesn't even fit inside of a box. I mean, God is in the miracle business on a level in which a lot of people have no idea. I mean, I started out with an 8th grade education. I started out being homeless 23 years.
Yeah.
I tell people I'm a statistical anomaly because of where I come from.
Right.
I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing now.
Right.
But those directions I felt I was given whatever I start, I have to finish. I started going to school, and whether I like it or not, I couldn't stop. I had to finish it. I failed statistics 3 times.
Wow.
But I had to finish it. And because of that, I was able to apply that and add it to my education and end up getting my licenses, my degrees, all of that. And I just get involved in things, knowing that it's going to be okay.
So what I hear you saying is you took action.
I took action and action and action.
And action and action. So
There's an expression that I've heard, and I love it, and it talks about praying with our feet. Get your feet moving. And that's what you did, is you took action no matter how you felt, and I just love it. Beautiful.
I'm going to steal that. I like that one. So you have. So what are some of these degrees that you've procured? You enter into this world with all that stuff that had happened with an eighth grade education. What have you accomplished now, thanks to living a life in recovery and your relationship with God?
I have my license in psychiatric technology. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a public health nurse. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing. I'm a certified addiction treatment counselor, 3rd level nurse. I'm a certified anger management facilitator. I'm right now currently in school to become a nurse practitioner. I have 2 businesses, and I have a comfort within myself that allows me to be okay with me in my moments.
See, now let me talk about that. Okay, so you're so accomplished in all these degrees that you've had, and you obviously academically, have done well. But that last statement about being at peace within yourself, that to me, and not taking away from all those amazing things, other things you did, but we can have everything. And Jason and I have talked about this, where you can have everything perfect on the outside, but not be okay on the inside. But see, you have that gift from the inside out. And that is what we've sought through all of our insanities, So on that part of that peace that's inside of you, and when he's talking about maintaining, what do you do to keep that peace inside of you, to keep those insides, just have everything aligned?
Very first thing I do when I get up in the morning, I hit my knees before I hit my feet. And I just have my conversation with God. I mean, we're like friends. We can chat about everything, And so I go over what's going on. I thank you for some of the things that I have experienced, and just allow whatever occurs. And I just ask to have the strength and the knowledge of what He wants me to do, and everything else is just autopilot. And I go out and do the best I can. I get hit with all kinds of ideas, and I just run with it. And I'd laugh because at one point in time, I used to say, what, God, I'm tired. And, He would say, well, I'm not. And I just, I'm just like, okay. So I just suit up and show up and do it.
Right. I love that. So, just going back to what Hilary brings up is, do you feel safe on the outside now?
Oh, totally. I am at one with the universe. All is well, and everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be.
And obviously feel safe on the inside, right?
Totally.
Based on that statement.
Totally. It's a total connection to the oneness that I've never, ever thought could exist. I mean, when I look at things in its perspective, everything that I went through had a purpose.
Right.
I didn't know that by being homeless and exposed to the elements, or eating cheeseburgers out of a dumpster, or putting drugs in my body, I didn't know that would give me some sort of weird immunity and fearlessness, that directing a hospital through COVID would be easy. I didn't know I was prepared that way. I had no clue.
Wow.
Right.
But when it hit, I'm like, okay, let's just go to work. That was it.
Right.
That was it. And so I didn't know that. I didn't know that having to have so much adversity in the beginning would be my strength in the end.
Amen to that. But
that
one
is
thing you
amazing.
One thing you didn't talk about was the project that you're working on.
Oh, Brown Manor?
Yeah, let's talk about Brown Manor.
Oh, I love Brown Manor. God, and again, I blame God on everything, because nothing happens in the world by mistake.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a 9,000 square foot abandoned 1916 mansion, because I've discovered that in order for
located in
Mansfield, Ohio.
Yes, and that's where a lot of the wreckage started, correct?
Yeah, well, I started in Steubenville, but this is my amends to Ohio, period.
Correct. Yes.
I was not well, considering I traveled around with the C.A.R.E, I was everywhere.
Yeah.
But Brown Manor is what I want to do to give back to the homeless community, because that's where I come from and I understand. And so with this mansion, I'm working on refurbishing it. With my education, I'm working on developing a program that's going to help people transition from the streets to, have a life that I have.
That's so incredible. You've done so many things with, I just look at the chances, like you said. I love your statistic that you gave, the comment you said about yourself. Just, you were
a statistical anomaly.
Yes.
Yes, that's a great.
Yeah, because you look at, everything that you went through. Even just one or two of the things, let alone all of them. Most people don't make it out on the other side, and to see that you've accomplished so much, and that you have taken all those, crazy and frightful and tragic instances, and have turned them into a good, like a saying I used to always live by is, all great change proceeds through chaos. And, where there's the biggest deficit and frustration and heartache is the biggest opportunity for growth. And to see where you are now and what you're doing and how many people you help and how many people you give back to is just a true testimony to recovery, God, and the work that you've done. And it's just really incredible.
It's absolutely beautiful.
So with all that though, just talking about the homeless real quick, right? And looking at this, because it's a growing epidemic that we're facing within the homeless community, correct? How do we effectively help the homeless?
First, we have to properly identify where they are in homelessness. Because a lot of times people think, well, the word homeless is one size fit all. It's not. There's the acute who just lost a job in couch surfing. There's the chronic that's been out there for years that have mental illness and substance use. And then there's subtle shades of gray in the middle. And so we need to be able to identify which level they are, then apply the treatment to that level, make it more specific. Then we can deal with it. That's some of the stuff I'm working on now, is trying to develop a framework to properly measure where they are. Then if I can measure it, I can put interventions in it.
Now, would you be incorporating that at the Brown Manor?
Absolutely.
I love that. Are you going to be doing anything here around that?
I'm creating the theory, but I need Brown Manor to actually apply it. I need a structure.
You need a brick and mortar to be able to operate and function. Mm-hmm. Well, look, we're definitely wanting to be able to support you in that area, and anything that we can do in our foundation. It would be amazing to connect with you and collaborate on some of those things. But before Hilary hits you with our last question, I want to know if there's somebody that is experiencing or going through a really tough time, and, with everything that you've experienced and you've endured, what would you tell somebody that is really wanting to give up on life?
Don't give up. If you're at the point where you're ready to surrender, try to surround yourself in an environment in which you can surrender to. What I mean by that is hang out in some meetings or some positive people or some sort of network. Get involved in that, even if you're intoxicated. Still hang out in that environment, because we all get that moment in which we're tired. We all get that moment in which we want to throw the flag in. The thing is, when you throw the flag in, what are your eyes going to open to for you to have to grab?
Hot dog. That's freaking legit. Boom. My questions are done, Hilary.
Okay. So we have a question that we ask most of our guests, which is, if you were to give our listeners one action for the day, what would it be?
Smile and be nice. It will reflect back onto you.
You are just so precious. Dude. I can't take it.
Yeah, you're going to be staying with me from now on, man. I like this. So I love that. I really do. And what a great way to kind of summarize this. But if more people, want to find out about you, they want to find out about the Brown Manor, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you, connect with you, support you?
You can either go to my website, which is www.anthonyhowardbrown.com.
Spell that out for our listeners.
www.anthonyhowardbrown.
Just like it sounds. Just like it sounds. Okay.
Yeah, you can go there, or you can go to caredd.org and just send an email.
C.A.R.E, which is C.A.R.E, DD.org.
Yes. Yeah. The DD stands for dual diagnosis.
Okay.
And either way, you can connect there. The Anthony Howard Brown has the GoFundMe page. It has the book. It has all the interviews I've been on, everything I stand for. We're just out there.
And tell me about that. Let me see that packet, Ryan. Tell me about this. I once had nowhere to go.
Oh, that is our pictorial guidebook on how to view homelessness. It gives a little synopsis of what somebody actually goes through. Because homelessness isn't like you just wake up in the morning, you're homeless.
Correct.
It's a series of circumstances that occur. And that's what that is. It's a little animated version of, what it took for someone to become homeless and what it takes for somebody to come out of homeless. And what we want to do is get that in schools and churches and different centers to create conversation. Because if you can see it, we can fix it. Yeah, if you can see it. And so we have those coming out right now. It's a nice little thing. It's fun.
I love it. Dude, God bless you, man. And thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. Thank you for coming in here and sharing your testimony with us and all God's doing in your life. I'll tell you, it's you put me in a phenomenal mood. Just being able to connect and talk, and I mean, just the perspective on this, the relatability, the connectivity. Like you said, put yourself in a room with people you want to be surrounded by. You're somebody I want to be surrounded by. So I'm grateful that you're here.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much.